Welcome to What's Going On, the weekly podcast and videocast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of What's Going On. I'm Pastor Katie here at First United Methodist in Yankton, South Dakota. I'm glad you could join me for this episode. In this episode, we're going to talk about what's going on. Hence the name of the podcast. It's original, I know. But there's been so much happening in the church, and the joke has kind of been in the house, well, next week it's going to slow down a little bit. Next week it'll slow down. It's never been, it hasn't slowed down yet. This has been, I feel like, for the first time in a while, this fall has really felt like what I remember ministry being, which is just full of things happening, the church doing things and plenty of things to do, and that's great. And so I'm grateful for that. But I also would like some downtime, sometime, maybe in January. We'll hope for that, maybe. But we've had a lot of really fun things. The soup kitchen, so much fun. I'm noticing now there are other soup kitchens happening in the community. So go ahead and go to those, support other churches, other organizations that are doing those. 'Tis the season right now for that. We had Trunk or Treat. Both of those events had over 400 people coming through either a church or a parking lot, which is just amazing. And so we're just so blessed. And hopefully God can use those events to help people know that we're here, and that we're here to love people and to love our community and to serve. And so pretty cool. I like it a lot. And then we also had our chili cook-off. So yeah, I've been busy, but busy doing really fun things. And so really excited about that. This coming week, this Sunday is All Saints Sunday. All Saints Day is November 1st. If you know kind of the etymology of Halloween, you know that Halloween actually comes from All Hallows Eve. And All Hallows is All Saints. And so November 1st is kind of the real day for it, but we celebrate All Saints on the first Sunday of November. And in celebrating All Saints, we recognize those in the past year who have moved on from this life, who have gone on to glory, and who have passed away. That's really what I'm saying in those euphemistic ways. Actually, I had my dad had a cousin who was an officer in the Salvation Army, and in the Salvation Army they talk about it as people who have gone on to glory. But there had been a service or something that he had been to where it got cut off, the word glory got cut off, and so they had gone on to glow, and that tickled him so much that when he passed away, at that funeral service, everyone had glow sticks, and he had gone on to glow. If you knew him, you knew that it really fit him very well, and I love actually anytime there's a service that's really reflective of the person that they were, and to celebrate that. And so this past Wednesday and also this coming Sunday, we are going to recognize those that we have who have gone on to glow in our church. And so if you are a family member of someone who we have lost in this church this year, we will have a flower available for you as part of the recognition of that service, in that service. But if you have someone that you've lost in your life, that we understand that grief is not something that expires after a year, but grief is something we carry with us. And if you would like to use this time to honor and remember your loved one who's passed away, please bring flowers to worship. One flower, maybe a small bouquet would be fine. And then during the service, we will read the names of those who we have lost this last year and light a candle for them. But then as you come up for communion, because it's also Communion Sunday, we invite you to bring those flowers forward. We're going to have a vase there. And then we put them in the vase, and then we are reminded in the beauty of the bouquet of the communion of saints that we live amongst, that we that they have joined now in this great cloud of witnesses, and it's a beautiful thing. And so that's this Sunday. Worship is at 10 o'clock. So and communion as well. And it also is the first Sunday of our kind of November series, Finding Faith in Your Favorite Movies. If you were here Wednesday night, you've already heard the first of those, but a couple of months ago, I asked the congregation to write down your favorite children's movies, comedies, and dramas. And I was going to use your suggestions to look for ways that God might show up in these stories, or the ways that the same themes that we read in scripture can be illustrated using these movies. And so that has been a really fun challenge. But I do believe that God shows up in unexpected ways. And I do believe that the stories that we watch in movies, and the stories we find in our children's books, the stories we find, that they are reflective of the human experience, and scripture speaks to the human experience. And so, it's really no different than any other time that I use an illustration in the sermon to help us understand or connect with what Jesus was saying, or what the Apostle Paul was writing about. But this time, I'm kind of so what I did is, as I went through the list, and there were many that you guys gave me. There were a lot of good movies on there. There's some that I've never seen before. And so I thank you for that. And then usually I tried to pick kind of one of the most popular responses, or one that I immediately connected with and go, oh, there's a scene in that movie that illustrates this thing so beautifully. And so that's what I did for how I chose what movies I'm going to be using in this time. But that means that I have plenty more movies on the list, so I can come back to that. And I was thinking maybe I would do a podcast series as well with that. So if that's something you're interested in, if you are an avid watcher of the podcast and you'd like me to maybe kind of do this on the podcast as well as some of the movies that I didn't choose for the series, let me know, because that could be fun. I would have to do more prep for the podcast than I normally do, but that's okay. Anyway, so this week is the children's movie, which is probably the one I'm the most, no, next week I'm probably more familiar, but it's certainly one I knew very well, and that's The Lion King. So come on Sunday and hear how The Lion King connects to our faith, at least how it did in my head. So the other beautiful thing is you can watch it, and when you have eyes and you're looking for the ways that God's truth can show up anywhere, then you start to find it. So just like our God moments, right? So that's this Sunday. This Sunday is the first Sunday of the month, which also means that I will be out at the Human Services Center at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to lead worship and communion for the patients out there. If you are ever interested in coming with me, I would love to have you come. We do mask out there as of right now still. But it's one of the highlights of my month for sure, to get to do that. And so, yeah, that's if you're interested, just let me know. So that is Sunday. And then we have leadership team will meet on the 7th. Leadership team will be meeting to approve budget to go to Charge Conference, to approve the nominations list to go to Charge Conference, and things like that. So they're prepping for Charge Conference there. If you are interested, I'm still going to, before the 7th, if you're interested in being a delegate to annual conference from our, we have 3 lay slots that our church, that can come from our church. Also, we are still looking for someone in particular. I think finance still has an open slot, and so please pray about that, consider that. Or if you know of someone in the church that would be a good fit for them, and maybe give them a call and say, hey, why haven't you applied for this? I think you are the right person for it, because sometimes people just need to hear it. It can be really easy to talk yourself out of something, but if someone else says, hey, I know that you have the giftings for this, I know that you would be invaluable in that role, that might just make a big difference. So this Thursday night is our charge conference with our district superintendent, Reverend Rebecca Trebs, and we encourage all members of the church to come and to be a part of that, and to again, that's where we vote on our budget. That's where we vote on our delegates to annual conference. And that's where we get to learn more about what's going on in the United Methodist Church beyond our local church. And so it's a really great opportunity. Rebecca is someone who's very knowledgeable in our conference and knowledgeable about what's going on beyond. And so put that on your calendar for Thursday, November 10th at 6:30 p.m. here in the church. So that is kind of the big things for this coming week. And then also we will be recognizing our veterans in worship on the 13th. So on the 9th and the 13th. And so if you are a veteran or have a veteran in your household, make sure that if you haven't gotten us a photo, to get us one, we like to display that at the back in the lounge and recognize that in our service. And so that's also coming up. Then things might be a little quieter for a little bit, but there's something new that's starting that I want to talk about. And this comes out of a conversation that I had with one of you. And again, I am so grateful when you come to me with what is on your heart, because sometimes we can do something about it right away. And that is the case this time. I had a conversation with one of you and you said, I would really love to know or have a place or a group that I can take prayer requests that I'm not comfortable with stating in front of everyone during church. It would make me feel so great to know that there's a group that is praying for not just kind of the immediate prayer needs, but also kind of the prayer needs that are ongoing for the people who do not yet know Christ. I would really love to see that in our church. And I went, you are absolutely right. Yes. And we can do that. And so we're going to do that. Wednesday mornings at 8:30, from 8:30 to 9, I'm going to commit myself to a time of prayer here in the church. I'm going to probably be up in the lounge, and I invite anyone who would like to come and pray with me. Along with that, I am adding a prayer box in the lounge. It's going to be a red box. It's going to say prayer requests on it, have some slips of paper. If you have a prayer request that you are just not super comfortable sharing out loud, but you still want someone to be praying for it, or you just don't want anyone to know that it's you right now, you're just not at that place, and that's okay. You can write that down and put it in the prayer box. Every Wednesday morning, I'm going to be checking that box along with the prayers that we have in our bulletin and have gone through our prayer chain, plus the ones that I just know about. And I'm going to just spend time in prayer, and you can come and join me in that prayer. You can come with your own prayer requests, your own things that you know about. We can be praying for people in the community. We can be praying for the election. We can be praying for whatever. The election will have happened by the time we have our first one, but it's just a time of prayer every week, because, and I say this now every week, and so again, it was one of those, like, this just makes sense. Why are we not doing this already? That the first thing I want you to be doing to support the church is through your prayers. And so we're going to give you this opportunity to come and really spend some dedicated time in prayer with each other and at God's feet. And so you are invited to that. But also, if you have prayer requests, please know you can always reach out to me. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me, Facebook Messenger me, whatever. And then know that, you can call the office, you can comment on any of these videos, you can put it in the prayer box. We will get to it, and know that we are praying for you. Just because I haven't done a dedicated prayer time doesn't mean I'm not praying for you, but I want to invite more people into that. And I know we have some incredible prayer warriors in this church. And so let us make use of that gift and really be saturating everything we do in prayer. And so that's going to start on Wednesday, November 10th, 9th. I forgot one, I forgot what month it was, and two, I forgot what day it was. And that's going to go from 8:30 to 9. If you are someone who is retired and you just want to stick around because 10 o'clock is XYZ, you go right ahead and do that. We have plenty of places, and you can just stay and visit. You can, do whatever you want, but XYZ will be on the 9th at 10 o'clock as well. And so I'm really excited about this. It was one of those moments of feeling very convicted of like, yes, absolutely. Let's get this done. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. If you are someone that has obvious ideas for what we should be doing as a church, and you're like, I don't know why we're not doing that, please tell me, because it might be, again, one of these moments of, yep, we should be doing that. And we'll try to get on top of that as soon as we can. So I want to thank you for bringing that to my attention, and invite everyone to that time of prayer as well. If that time doesn't work for you, but you want to pray as well, let us know. I would go earlier, except that I have to get my kids to school, so that's kind of the earliest I can get to church, and so that's why we chose to do it. I chose to do it then. So with that, there's again always a lot happening. We're so grateful for this church, and I'm grateful for all of you. If you are a Wednesday night worshiper, please do consider signing up to be an usher. The sign-up sheet is in the lounge. If you're a Sunday morning worshiper, you know what I'd really love? I'd love greeters. If you are someone who's here pretty much every Sunday and you're not doing something yet, please do that. Just come stand by the front doors, smile, wave, welcome, and point people to the stairs. It's not hard. Just do it. That'd be great. So with that, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and hope to see you in worship very soon. God bless. Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Going On, a podcast of First United Methodist Church in Yankton, South Dakota. We'd love to have you join us for worship on Wednesday nights at 6:15 or Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. You can also worship with us online at firstumcyankton.org or find us on YouTube.